Photography stands as one of the most influential and important means of journalism today, capturing both the good and the bad of our world. Whether you're out taking photos at a sporting event, taking photos at home doing senior photos, or capturing a major political event, journalism can be used for many different means. However, photography stands out as the most important. While seemingly simple, there are numerous different factors that go into photography that contribute to making a seemingly ordinary photo an amazing photo. Today, we'll be overviewing how to set up your camera equipment, how to change your settings to maximize your photo quality, and how to incorporate your environment to make the best photo possible. Let's take our lenses off and explain how to set up your equipment. Many photographers use equipment such as a tripod, a remote shutter, and of course the camera for their photos. For today's sake, I will be using my camera of choice, a Canon EOS 6D, a 150 to 600 millimeter Tamron lens, and a Canon 24 to 105 millimeter lens. The first thing I will start off by doing is getting my tripod and removing the base plate. The base plate is what connects the tripod to the camera. Since I already have my lens attached, we can skip over this. However, if attaching a lens, you need to first ensure that the lens caps are off of your camera and attach the lens to your camera. I will get the base plate and screw it into the bottom, ensuring that the screw on the bottom of my plate is tight. This makes sure that the camera doesn't fall off while I'm shooting photos, which would be very bad. Once the base plate is attached, I will begin by setting up my tripod. There are two different prongs at the bottom of your tripod legs you need to extend. I will unattach each prong and extend each leg out as far as it can go. Once all the legs are out, I will set up my tripod. And using the base plate that I just attached to the bottom of my camera, I will attach it. Sometimes it's hard to slide in, so this takes a little bit of time. Once your camera is onto the tripod, you are good to go. Using a tripod can ensure that your photos look more clear and steady if shooting moving subjects. Now that we've talked about how to set up your camera equipment, we will dive into how to alter your settings to ensure the maximum photo quality. Every professional photographer knows of something called the exposure triangle, which has three basic components: ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. Let's start off by talking about ISO. ISO can be described as how much light your camera sensor lets in. A high ISO, while making for brighter images, also is grainier and less clear. A low ISO, on the opposite end of the spectrum, will have way clearer images but will also be darker. In response to this, many photographers try to shoot with as low of an ISO as possible to ensure maximum photo quality. Next, let's talk about shutter speed. Shutter speed can be described as how quickly your camera shutter fires. Camera shutter is very important, as a low shutter speed while taking things such as sports photography will lead to blurry images. However, a high shutter speed can be used to make everything look clear. When shooting moving images, like shooting images of a train or a car, it can be utilized to make your background look blurry, but your subject in focus, as seen in this image. Now that we've talked about shutter speed, let's move on to aperture. Aperture can be utilized by photographers if taking things such as portrait photography in order to make your background look blurry, but your subject in focus. This can allow you to lead your viewers to be focused on one central subject instead of the entire image. In these photos of Wyatt Conrad, we can see how the background looks extremely blurry, but the subject is in focus and clear. Now that we've talked about our camera settings, let's talk about how to utilize your surroundings to ensure the best photo quality possible. Sure, if you're chasing a train, it's a very interesting subject to capture, but you can only get the exact same angle and the exact same image before it becomes boring. In turn, while I'm out shooting, I try to incorporate my background and my foreground as frequently as I can. Things such as grain elevators, signage, or geological features that I find in my surroundings help to enhance my photos, as seen in these. If taking things such as portrait photography or senior photos, things such as contrasting colors, old buildings, and background can also lead to a more interesting photo. Now that we've talked about how to set up your equipment, the basics of your camera settings, and how to utilize your surroundings to ensure the best photo quality possible, let's reminisce on what we learned today. We learned how to unpack our gear, how to change our settings, and how to use our equipment properly. Thank you for listening to me talk about photography, and I hope to see you guys out trackside soon. Thank you for listening.